Imagine dying of thirst, but like simultaneously feeling like you're drowning.
It's such a visceral image.
Right. That impossible psychological paradox is basically the centerpiece of the sources we are diving into today.
Yeah, it's a profound text.
We're doing a deep dive into the ancient text of Psalm 42, specifically looking at the English Standard Version. So let's unpack this. The text actually notes this is a maskil of the sons of Korah.
Which is a very specific designation.
Yeah. And it sounds incredibly poetic, but I have to admit, I have no idea what a maskil actually is. Who exactly are we hearing from here?
Well, the Sons of Korah were a specific guild of temple musicians. You can basically think of them as professional worship leaders.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
And a maskil indicates a contemplative or instructive poem. So this isn't just, some spontaneous journal entry. It's a carefully crafted song.
So it was designed to teach us something.
Exactly. It's designed to capture the raw, universal human experience of profound despair and ultimately that internal battle to find hope.
Which is wild because the instruction begins right at the origin of the author's pain, with his desperate, almost physical need.
Yeah, the opening verses hit us with that really famous image of a deer panting for flowing streams.
Which mirrors a soul thirsting for the living God. And I want to clarify for you listening, this isn't just like mild dehydration after a run.
Oh, not at all.
This is a life or death struggle for survival. It's systemic failure. It's like an engine running without oil, The friction is just burning the author out from the inside.
And that systemic failure is compounded by immense external pressure. Because while the author is literally consuming their own grief, verse 3 notes, their tears have become their food day and night. Their adversaries are constantly taunting them.
Asking, where is your God?
Right. So the physical exhaustion is being met with deliberate psychological torment.
And when your body's is that depleted, your mind just starts turning on you. The author plunges straight into their own memories, contrasting this painful present with how they used to lead throngs in festival processions.
Pouring out their soul, remembering the house of God.
Yeah, but now they're completely isolated in the land of Jordan, Hermon, and Mount Mizar. But wait, looking at verse 7, I'm honestly a little confused.
What stands out to you?
Well, the author just spent 3 verses talking about dying of thirst, right? But then they suddenly complain about chaotic, watery imagery, like deep calls to deep at the roar of your waterfalls, and all your breakers and your waves have gone over me.
It is a really jarring shift.
Why switch the metaphor from being parched to being flooded? It feels contradictory.
It does, but if we connect this to the bigger picture, it's actually a brilliant, precise depiction of clinical despair.
Oh, really? How so?
Well, you can feel entirely empty, parched of purpose or connection, yet simultaneously feel completely overwhelmed by circumstances crashing down on you.
I see.
Being parched and flooded at the exact same time creates this severe cognitive dissonance that forces the author into a radical coping mechanism.
Right, they start talking to themselves.
Yes.
In the recurring refrain of verses 5 and 11, the author directly interrogates their own emotions. Why are you cast down, O my soul? And why are you in turmoil within me?
And then they issue a strict command to themselves saying, hope in God.
What's fascinating here is how addressing their soul in the third person creates this crucial psychological distance.
Which is actually a foundational mechanism in modern cognitive behavioral therapy.
Right, really.
Yeah. By externalizing the soul as a second entity, the author isn't suppressing the turmoil or pretending the drowning sensation isn't real.
They're observing their panic from the outside.
Exactly. Which helps the brain process the grief logically rather than just drowning in it emotionally.
And they openly acknowledge the feeling of being forgotten, describing the adversary's taunts like a deadly wound in their bones, but then they oscillate right back to logic.
Reminding themselves that by day, God commands steadfast love, and at night, his song is with them.
And looking at the translation footnotes, there's a detail that shifts the whole tone of that refrain for me. The phrase, my salvation, literally translates from the Hebrew as the salvation of my face.
I love that detail. That specific wording transforms the rescue from an abstract concept into a deeply personal restoration.
Like lifting a downcast head.
Yes, restoring dignity and being truly seen by the entity they are thirsting for.
So what does this all mean for you, listening right now? Because we all face moments where we are parched for a break but drowning in the chaos of life.
Absolutely. And sometimes you have to consciously coach yourself out of that downward spiral.
Step by step, creating that psychological distance, just like the author does here.
This raises an important question, though. The text repeats this self-interrogation.
Right, it's not a one-and-done fix.
It's a continuous cycle, remembering, observing the pain, and actively choosing hope over and over again.
Which leaves us with this to mull over. If hope is a choice we have to repeatedly command ourselves to make, does true resilience actually require us to first fully embrace and sit with our own despair?
That's a powerful thought.
Maybe before we can ever quench that deep thirst, we have to openly admit that we're drowning.